Hey guys. Happy Monday for me. I'm recording this on Monday. And wherever and whenever you're watching this, I hope you're having a great day. I'm going to show you a quick earrings idea that will complement the Creative Soul January 2025 kit. That was our Ski Lodge bracelet, and that video has already been launched. You can check that out. I'm sure there'll be a description in the video that'll take you to all the places, but there's a whole playlist now of seed bead projects for the loom that feature the kits from the Creative Soul line on the Jewel Loom YouTube channel. So be sure to check that out for other content that's really inspiring there. We're going to be adding to it all the time. So today I have a project that is actually kind of just getting back to the basics that I love. I love to take a loom pattern that was like, say, like for a bracelet or like a larger pattern and pick a piece of it and make a little tile. Because those earrings, I mean, those are the ones like I always pick up and put on and feel like the most love for. And they're the ones that take the best photos, and I love doing that. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm just going to take a little snippet of the pattern that we used for the bracelet for this month and just do a little square, and then I might embellish it a little bit. So you're going to want to start. You can use your original jewel loom. You can use the earring loom. This one I will put a link to in the description as well. But this is the earring loom. It's great because you use a little bit less thread. And so I always recommend the earring loom if you want to try it out. If you have it handy already, great. And then go ahead and warp your loom with 13 warp threads. So I've shown the step-by-step warping for this particular loom on another video, and I'm also going to drop a link to that in the description because on this one I'm using this light cream colored thread, which is really pretty. It's perfect for our design today, but it's not as easy to see, and I've already done a really, really great how to warp the earring loom video, so I'm going to link you to that. So if this is a new thing for you with putting the warp threads on the earring loom, just please go check out that video and it'll walk you step by step through. So in this video, I'm just going to show creating the pattern, and I'm also going to show taking it off the loom and turning it into an earring. So just a quick little fun thing. The pattern will be emailed to folks who subscribe to the Creative Soul 2025 January kit. And just reach out to Jules if you have any questions about that. And I'm sure that they'll be, between her and I, will be able to get you guys that pattern. And for my warping thread, now I've cut another strand of thread, and this is a 1G beading thread, and it's the color cream. I cut just like a wingspan. It's probably, plenty without having to add thread. You could probably get away with, like, I think 45 inches. I just by default just went to the wing. And I'm going to bring the needle under the warp threads here. And let's leave a tail. Let's leave a longer than usual tail, so we'll have something to play with at the end to like move around, maybe finishing the bottom with something like some pip beads. So I'm going to leave a long tail, make 12 to 15 inches or so. And I'm going to string the first row. So you've got 2A, 2B, 1E, and 2C. Here's 1E, 2B, and 2A. And again, that's just from the pattern. And it's really pretty. It looks just like that. And I'm going to string that down to where I left my 12 to 15 inch tail, and then bring the needle back through it. The needle's heading back through it, heading opposite direction of how I strung it. And what we're going to want to do is bring this underneath the warp threads. And again, that's 13 warp threads, and we picked up 12 beads. And you can just push down on those threads, making sure they stay nice and tight. And there we go. Once you got that situated, go ahead and remove the needle. And working with the eye side, go back through those beads. You want to pass the beads above the warps. And pull that all the way through. And I just kind of started in the middle. See how I just did that? You can slide it around now, just toward the base. The length of this is going to be less than an inch, so, or maybe maybe a smidge over an inch, but it's going to be round about there. So we're going to have plenty of room. Just move it till kind of like, a little bit above where it says designer looms. If you work bottom to top, and now a lot of people loom from top to bottom. And the cool thing about the pattern is it's symmetrical top to bottom and right to left. So you can work either direction, and actually the pattern will be the same for you. All right, so what I'm going to do now is pick up the next row and put on the next row. And so I strung that row number 2, and then just bring the beads under, just like we did with the first row. And this time it'll be super, super easy. They should pop right there in between each of those threads for you. And then just bring your needle back through, passing through the beads, staying over the warp threads. And I just realized I didn't remember to do one of my little tricks. And so I'm just noticing it now as I'm adding my bead rows. But sometimes, depending on how tightly you warp, and I have times when I warp super, super tight and everything just like pops. And sometimes where my warps are just a little bit loose. And if you have that situation going, you can grab the tassel maker and put the tassel maker underneath and then just bend it up. Let me show you a side view of that. You bring the tassel maker in like that, like on the side, and then just turn it to face upward like that. And it'll, see how it raised the warps a little bit? That's making them tighter tension. And so it's not going to really get in the way. I've got it kind of pushed up to the top, and now I can stitch freely and have a little bit tighter warps. So what I'm going to do is work the rest of the pattern. It's pretty short, just a few rows, and then we'll take it off the loom and make our earring. So there it is. It's a really quick pattern, just getting that last row on there. And I'm going to go ahead and bring the last row on. I actually just pressed the beads up under the warps, and I'm going to go through the row again, back through the row, heading above the warps. You kind of press up on the top of the bead wall, that'll help you get through it. And going through the eye side means all these beads can move. And so that's the reason I do that. And that will help us with the next step I'm going to show you, which is weaving in. So if you use the tension maker, just move that out. Tassel maker / tension maker is what I named it. Go ahead and just move that to the side. And all you'll need to do to remove it from the loom is, you remember the place where we did our knot? We're just going to cut it free from the knot right here. You may need to do that on both sides. But we only want to cut the place where we tied a knot. And remove each of these little threads from the combs just using my nail. And this little trick works really well on the earring loom. Okay, and it'll just fall off the other side. And now you have your little square become our earring. And I'm just going to do the same thing I did on the earrings, the last earrings videos, plus also what we did for the bracelet. A little hard to see here because of the color of my mat and the color of the threads. So let's see. I can just move this for you. Got lots of beady goodness going on here. And let's see if I can maybe get a little bit better background for you guys. 1 second. All right, not perfect, but better than the blue. For some reason has such a shine on it. I tried to, when I was editing the earring video, it was driving me crazy because the blue was creating this like glare. It's just my cutting mat that's underneath my my surface here. I'm still working on perfecting the work surface, and every time I change thread color, it's like, oh no, because that other one, the other mat with the white, is so nice for video, but it just for this thread is not going to work. So what I'm going to do here is just go and pull the warps in. I mean, this is something we do a lot, but I might even be able to hold it up in this case and show you, because it's such a small piece. I can actually pinch it in my hand. So I'm going to grab the first strand, which is one of the ones we cut free, and then just holding everything in place. Just pull that down. Okay. And then I'm going to pull this other one. Pull that one up. And do you see how the thread at the bottom is coming closer and closer to the bead. We can do that again with this side. Just want to make sure that it doesn't pull the others in with it. Just like that. And so as we do this, the strands are going to get a little bit long, but not nearly as long as they did on the bracelet. So if you've conquered the bracelet, this will be so easy. So keep pulling those in, and then we'll do the next steps together. And there we go, just pulling in the last one. So at the very end, you'll have just one to go here on the top side. And it's going to be a pretty long strand at this point. There we go. So there's our little earring to start. And we're going to do something really fun with it to turn it into a very, very cool little, like a little tile. We've done a lot of tiles before, but I just really love them. So I kind of keep coming back to that idea. So I'm going to try to use the pretty pips that came with your kit. And so I love the blue with it. The blue is very pretty, and this accent color adds a lot too. So let's go ahead and figure out a way to incorporate these. Oh, look how pretty those are. Those are super gorgeous. So I've got these ready, and I brought my other mat back out where I have my beads still laid out. And I'm going to go ahead and use some of these beads, but let's do something about the extra strands we don't need really quick. So we've got a bunch of leftover working thread, and I'm going to show you how to weave that in. Just a really quick recap, because I know we got a lot of videos. In fact, the one I'm going to steer you to for warping refresh has a very good in detail by weaving in, but just in summary, if you have a weft thread, it's the ones that are going through the beads, you want to jump over the warp on the side. So you just take a close look and see how it's exiting there on one side of that warp thread, jump over it and go back through the bead. And then just head through some beads. It doesn't have to be all of the row, just some portion of the row. And kind of a little more gently when you're pulling that through. You don't want to cinch up you don't want to pull the warp into the bead. It's kind of the goal. You can just see the little strand just hugging it now. And so from here, I just kind of randomly jumped out of this bead, go through or go under the weft thread that is running through the beads. And so that'll be the beads that will be the thread that's passing through the beads. And it's running over the warp. So you're just going to pick it up so that you're running kind of parallel with the warp thread. And it's going to look like that. See? Just go under a few. And turn and go through some beads. And you can do the same thing we did before to get back through. Jump over a warp strand. And just head through a few beads. And go under some weft. Being careful not to pick up the warp itself. You just want to pick up the weft thread. And pulling that through. And do that one more time. And then trim that strand. And there we go. So one down. And let's save my needle. And let's work with others. So we've got we've got 2 warps here and here. A little hard to see on this mat. So 2 warps here and here. And one more working thread. This is actually the tail weft thread that we left. And so I also have this shorter warp thread. Let's weave in this warp thread because it's the shorter of the 2. And what that leaves me is a long strand here and here. So I have a long strand at the top and the bottom. So to weave in one of the warp threads, because it is not exiting from a bead, it's running along the side. In this case, you have to jump over a bead and then go through the next few. So same process to weave in, but just a different way to get into the beads. So in this case, you're going to pull that so that you get another one of those little loops. And that is how you weave in. So same thing we did before, under some weft to make some turns and then trim. All right, so working with the long warp thread, I've got a needle put onto the long warp thread. That's the one that is just running the side here. I'm going to string 4 of the opaque blue, and then the blue pit bead. And then I'm going to string a gold bead, and then the lighter colored pit, another gold bead, and the blue one, and then 4 of those opaque blues. And your thread will be just kind of running the side of this bead for now. On the other side, work all the way over to the other side, and then just go through just the first bead on that side. And so what'll happen is it'll look a little bit wonky at first. Don't worry, we're gonna do some turning around that'll make it a lot tighter. But for now, it's gonna look like that. And remember, we just went through the first bead on that other side. What I'm gonna do now is go back through all the beads. This is gonna cause these beads to hug that edge bead. Just kind of facing down from the bead wall there. And I've made it through maybe the first little part of that. There we go. So you see what happened is, I'll kind of show you with it stretched out. See, this is going to hug like that. Just hugging right at the bottom bead. So let me tighten all that up. Just making sure I'm staying on camera. There we go. So I have to continue going through the rest of the beads here. And then I'm going to tighten all that up here on the other side. So remember, this was the warp strand, so it's already exiting from the edge. So what I want to do after I get through all these beads is go back through it this way. So I'm going to go through the edge bead heading that way. And so I'm going to get, if we tighten everything up, this little smile with little pips on it. All right, and so go ahead and go back through that one more time. So for now, you'll be exiting from that bottom bead and head through this row one more time to strengthen it. And each of these passes is a really nice way to not have to have it be too loose. Let me get that other strand out of the way. That one we're going to use to put our ear wire. All right, and go through here. And when you get to this side, go ahead and go through the bead this way and continue through the next bead, which will put you exiting from the second bead, kind of heading in towards the middle. And with your thread exiting from that bead, string another set of beads. It's going to be 3 of the transparent blue, 1 of the Picasso brown, and 2 of the snow crystal, and then reverse that back out with 1 of the brown and 3 of the transparent blue. And then we're going to go through the second bead on this side. So you can go through from out to in or in to out. And in this case, it actually doesn't matter. We're going to be going back through the beads. So whichever side of the bead you go through, it's going to end up hugging it as we make this little turn here, right? And go back through all those beads. Making sure not to miss one. And we'll head up through this one here. And then when you get to this side, just kind of like take the work for just a second and pinch it with your hand and just tighten a tiny bit. Don't go crazy, but just a little. And then notice on this side of the bead that the side that you're exiting from was the inside, kind of toward the middle. So go through that second bead from the outside through. So this way through it. And you got it. So now we've got this cute little decoration. We're just going to fill in the middle now with another little count of beads. And before we string those beads, we need to make sure we're exiting from the next bead. Sorry, I got excited about the next step. We got to go through the third bead now. Just want to be exiting from the next bead in. And so let's string 2 of the Picasso, 1 blue, 1 gold, and 1 blue, and then 2 of the Picasso. So just like that. And we're going to do the same similar-ish thing that we did before. We're going to go through the third bead this time. Just like that. Pull that through. Go back through all those beads. And then making sure when we go back through the third bead on this side, we're heading through the opposite side of where the thread is exiting from. So we're going to go from the outside toward the middle. So just like that. And again, I'm going to do that thing where I kind of pinch it and just tighten. So this is what you'll have. The really pretty little base for this. This earring is so cute. So that is the bottom part of the earring. And when you wear it, since we went through all these beads more than once, they're going to stay like that. So I don't know if it's showing as well with me holding it that way, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to weave around a little bit and then trim this bottom thread. All right, so there's the bottom of the earring. Let's go ahead and pop the top part on. And so what I thought I would do for the top part was I was going to work this from the inner beam out. Let me show you what I mean. It's going to be a little easier for me to work the ear wire last, if that makes sense. So follow me on this one really quick. So I'm using the thread that we left at the top of the earring. This is a weft thread. I forgot. This was our long tail that we left. So I'm going to jump over the warp thread to get through the beads and go through to the third bead. So again, I'm weaving to exit from the third bead right here. And I'm going to string what is essentially the center part that we did down here. So 2 of the Picasso brown, 1 of the opaque blue, a gold, an opaque blue, and 2 of the Picasso brown. And I'm going to jump and go through the third bead on the other side. So we'll get that loop first. And one thing I wanted to mention is as you string it, if you string it in front of the warps, these little strands here, it'll pop into the center and kind of stick up on the front like the one on the bottom is doing. So that's something I've been kind of making a point of doing. Go back through and using that trick again to tighten. And then you'll want to head through the bead on this side again and see how there's that little loop there. You can push that loop out of your way to get through the bead. Again, that's the third bead. All right, and I'm going to go back through that. All right, when you get to the other side, you're going to want to go through that third bead and head through it in this direction. Bring yourself to exit from the second bead now. From the second bead, string the other pattern we had, which was 3 of the transparent blue. And then it was 1 of the Picasso brown, 2 crystal, 1 Picasso, and then you'll need 3 more of the transparent. And then same thing we did before, we're going to loop back through this way. See how it hugs that bead? That's the goal. Go through the rest of these, and there's this, pinch everything and kind of tighten it up. When you get to this side, go through that second bead, heading towards the outside. So you should be exiting from the edge bead, heading outward from the middle. And I'm just kind of helping everything stay a little tight. All right. And from here, we're going to string a little bit different pattern. So because we don't have, we're just doing the pips on the bottom. I thought about maybe putting on the top, but they wouldn't stay pokey uppy. They would fall down. So it's better maybe to just do, let's start with the 4 that we did. We had 4 of the opaque blue. So the same thing we did on the bottom so far, but then pick up 1 of the transparent blue and let's do 4 of the gold beads. And then let's repeat that back out. So 1 of the transparent blue and then again 4 opaque blue. And this will go back through the first on the other side. Pull tight. Oops, didn't mean to loosen that as much as I did. And then we'll just go through all these beads. And I'm just using my thumb and my finger to kind of keep everything a little bit tight as I do this step. I'm going to reinforce this one an extra time because it's going to support our ear wire. When you get to this other side of the design, remember to go through the bead from the inside out so that this edge one hugs. So you want to get that loop to where when you're going through these little loop strands, see how that it's going through that way? So it hugs that bead. It makes it face in the right direction. I'm going to go through that again. And I'll put all these counts in the pattern. But in general, you can kind of feel these out, for any design you're working on. And on this side, it doesn't actually matter which side you go through the bead from. I just decided to go this way so that I can jump over my warp thread on the side and head back through the row. And so from here, I'm going to do one little extra step as I weave in. Let's go through this row here. I'm going to go through a few rows now. So exiting from that one, heading back through this one, I'm just making this a little bit more, so it holds its shape while it's being worn. And sorry, I just lost my needle. Here we go. Did we make it through that bead? We did. Okay. So heading through the next one. So I don't always do this on a design. It's not going to really weave it in as solidly. I'll probably still do my usual, weaving in, going out of the wefts and stuff, but just do that to the bottom just to kind of make it stronger and it'll hold its shape a little more for you. All right, so I did all my weaving in and now I'm just going to pop my ear wire on. If you have a side you like more, front or back, go ahead and pop the ear wire on in that direction. And there we go. All right, got the ear wire on that side too. And now I'm going to just try them on. I think they look really cool. They're kind of like, I don't know, I feel like they almost have like an Egyptian vibe, like a little hieroglyphics thing going on. Wasn't what I was going for, but I think we kind of landed that. I mean, this looks really cool. So I forgot I'm wearing earrings. One second. But yeah, they came out so cool. They really did. So let's try these on and see. I have a feeling these are going to be just really, lightweight and so stunning to wear. They're just going to be really fun. Yeah, exactly. Look how cool that looks. It's just got the neatest little vibe to it. It has the cool little pips sticking out on the bottom, and these look really cool on. And don't worry if your tension isn't perfect. I don't know if you know this, but my tension was not perfect either. It's very hard to get something that's made with thread to be completely flat and to have the loops be exactly perfect. And the thing is they just don't need to be because it's so cool just like that. I mean, that is just a really cool design. I'm loving it. I think I'm going to make more of these in other colors. I need to do a turquoise now that I realized. Can you see like a gold turquoise red? I can totally see that. That would be neat. Maybe some pops of yellow in there because it's just very, I don't know, feels Cleopatra to me. I don't know why. I just got that whole, maybe because it's in an oval shape. So I'm seeing kind of like ancient hieroglyphic writing and stuff. I don't know. I thought that was really awesome. I hope you enjoyed this, and that I hope that you've subscribed to the Creative Soul, because every month we do a class and a bonus earring usually. So the patterns are part of the kit that you get, and we've been putting the videos up for everyone to check out because they're just really fun, and we like to hang out on YouTube together. So be sure to check out the playlist, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye. Happy looming.